Hello, everyone, and welcome to Penning the Past, Insights into San Diego's Historic Neighborhoods and Architecture, Save Our Heritage Organization's monthly lecture series highlighting the people, places, and preservation efforts that make San Diego's history so remarkable. I'm Dean Glass, and I thank you for joining us today. Before we begin, I'd like to mention a couple of housekeeping items. This presentation is being recorded and will be posted on SOHO's YouTube channel in the coming days for anyone who would like to watch it again or share it with others. Please remember to show your support by liking and subscribing. If you have any questions during the lecture, please enter them in the chat feature at any time. We'll save those till the end of the program and answer as many as time allows. Today's program takes us to one of San Diego's most recognizable post-war communities, Clairemont. Conceived as a village within a city, Clairemont became one of the nation's largest planned suburban developments and helped shape the way San Diego would grow during the second half of the 20th century. Understanding why communities like Clairemont matter is an important step to ensuring their preservation. Our speaker today, Alex Bevil, a longtime preservationist, is uniquely qualified to tell that story. Alex is a retired California State Parks historian, researcher, and advocate whose work has led to numerous National Register and local historic designations throughout San Diego County. A recent recipient of SOHO's Lifetime Legacy Award, he is also a regular contributor to SOHO's e-News, where his popular Hiding in Plain Sight feature highlights overlooked pieces of San Diego's rich history. Alex has authored several of SOHO's acclaimed tour booklets, including Clairemont, The Village Within a City, Tiki, A Guide to San Diego's Tiki Architecture, and Rediscovering Calle Judeo, The Jewish Men and Women of Enterprise in Old Town San Diego State Historic Park. Today, Alex will explore how developers Lou Burgener and Carlos Tavares transformed a windswept mesa overlooking Mission Bay into one of America's most influential suburban communities. Along the way, he'll examine the planning, architecture, and vision that made Clairemont a model for suburban development and why preserving that legacy matters today. Join me in welcoming Alex Bevil.
Composed of at least 390 separate subdivisions laid out between 1950 and 1972, Clairemont's historical development began immediately after World War II, when land developers and builders Louis Pauli Burgener and Carlos Carl Tavares formed the Burgener Tavares Real Estate Development and Home Building Companies. Based in La Jolla, they focused their attention on developing approximately 1,000 acres of former cattle grazing land on the windswept Morena Mesa into a modern suburban housing tract. Located immediately northeast and northwest of the existing communities of Morena, Bay Park, and Linda Vista, it offers spectacular views of East Mission Bay and deep riparian canyons. Tavares' wife, Marjorie Claire, suggested that the new subdivision's layout should match its terrain with winding streets and cul-de-sacs for children to play. Recorded on October 16, 1950, Tavares and Burgener named the new subdivision Clairemont Heights in her honor. Not, as some suggest, after her brother-in-law, Claire Burgener, Lou's younger brother and the Tavares and Burgener's sales manager. One of the largest master planned post-World War II communities in the United States, Clairemont's village within a city suburban living concept would have far-reaching implications for San Diego as it stretched its city limits outward along new interstate freeways into outlying areas during the immediate post-war era. Following the examples of the nearby pre-war communities of Bay Park Village and Linda Vista, Clairemont would provide homes for a large population of returning or newly arriving veterans and their families. Many found jobs in the burgeoning growth of local military facilities and aerospace industries. For example, in 1959, East Clairemont's residents reportedly included 857 scientists, engineers, executives employed at the giant Convair General Dynamics Aeronautics plant located in neighboring Kearny Mesa, east of Highway 395. It was actively designing, assembling, and test firing the new Atlas intercontinental ballistic missile. Tavares and Burgener had hired up-and-coming local architects Harold Abrams, Benson Eisenbach, and Richard George Wheeler, who designed the houses on my block, including my house, to design Clairemont's first 500 new tract homes, ranging in price from $8,000 to $20,000, relatively low down payments and mortgages, guarantees, and subsidies offered by VA and Federal Housing Administration building loans, supporting the American dream of owning your own home. If we can dwell on the center ad for a moment, what does that remind you of? The blammo. But I guess the threat of nuclear annihilation didn't deter Burgener or Tavares or other local real estate developers or potential home buyers, because between 1950 and 1956, 77 subdivision units had been platted within Clairemont, including 31 developed by the Burgener Tavares companies. As Clairemont grew, Clairemont Drive would become Clairemont's main street, with the Clairemont Quad and the North Clairemont Square retail centers developed at southern and northern terminals in 1954 and 57, respectively. A side note, after doing this presentation, I finally noted the difference between where the Clairemont Quad and the Clairemont Shopping Square is, even though I've lived in this community since 1981. Commercial, educational, religious, and recreational buildings, as well as single-family homes and apartment complexes built during this time still line the 3-mile-long thoroughfare, as well as Clairemont Mesa Boulevard to the north. At first glance, the majority of Clairemont's commercial and residential tract housing is relatively mundane and repetitive. Many growing up in the area would refer to it as Squaremont, a term quoted in the community's recent historic context statement. Yet, the 62-year-old community contains some of the best surviving examples of mid-century modern architecture in San Diego, designed by such noted modern architects as Sim Bruce Richards, Robert J. Platt, Robert Deslauriers, and Lloyd Pietro Antonio Rocco. What is the mid-century modern architectural style? Popular from approximately 1946 to 1972, it represented an optimism in a peaceful, economically prosperous post-war America, reflecting post-war middle-class Americans' demand for the latest architectural aesthetic and building materials, often with avant-garde stylistic details, counterbalanced with traditional building materials like glass, concrete, wood, and stone. What are its key character designing features? Clean lines, organic forms, emphasize simplicity and functionality, large picture windows, blurring the line between indoor and outdoor spaces, use of natural materials like wood, stone, and brick to enhance warmth and texture, open floor plans that promote fluid movement and social interaction, integration of indoor and outdoor living areas, often with sliding glass doors, minimal ornamentation, focusing on the beauty of the structure itself. What variants of the style can be found throughout Greater Clairemont? Basically all of these. Mainly, I've noticed we have a lot of contemporary modern, tract, custom ranch, some post and beam, some plate roof and box, a little new formalism, several interesting futuristic googie, about 12 or so Tiki Polynesian, organic geometric, abstract expressionist, and international industrial. Were they functional? We will cover commercial, public, residential, and religious types of structures, and then the various subcategories from automobile service station, libraries, to even we're going to look at fallout shelters and churches. Now, what examples can be found throughout the Clairemont community? Starting with commercial, we have the Tooncraft Auto Repair Center. I'm going to skim through some of these because the information will be there for the record. I'll point out the highlights, like the date of construction, 1958. Originally was the ESAL Richfield Service and Gasoline Station. Style International Industrial is an example, excellent example of that style. Standard late 1950s Richfield Oil Company Service Station, featuring cantilevered flat roof canopies projecting 90 degrees out for its central office service bay, over strategically located gas pump islands. At one time, automobile service stations occupied all four corners of this intersection at Clairemont Drive and Balboa Avenue intersection and others throughout the community. Here's the original South Clairemont Shell service station. Again, we have an international industrial vibe to it, and many of these are often taken for granted. These service stations played an important role in Clairemont's automobile-oriented suburban lifestyle. Remember, 1950s, 60s, if you didn't have a car, you were a nobody. Besides once displaying a highly visible neon sign visible to approaching motorists, the garage's Googie-inspired wedge-shaped upright pylon separated the office from its service bays. Now, we have two other Shell service stations here on Genesee. And if you look at them, you look at their shape and you go, they seem very familiar. It's basically, you can plot these down in any of the communities and they look just like the houses of the surrounding neighborhood. We have professional service building designed by Richard George Wheeler. I mentioned him. It's a contemporary modern style. It is a 10,000 plus square foot combination medical dental office complex featuring frame and stucco construction, liberal use of concrete blocking glass, rough course cement mortared rubble wall cladding and landscape features. Originally housing 15 office suites, it contained a pharmacy and an inner children's recreational patio area. The former Security Trust and Savings Bank, now Bank of America, again, Richard George Wheeler. Wheeler's style he was an avowed free thinker. Wheeler's design philosophies strive not to be bounded by conventional or traditional architecture. Now, I always have a problem trying to categorize these as to what particular style of mid-century modern architecture. When you have an architect who says that he's not bound by conventional traditional architecture, then fine. I call it the Hanna-Barbera look. The fusion of an unadorned George Jetson-inspired space-age freestyle abstract rear facades with irregular course exterior cement-mortared Barney Rubble stone front sidewalks. Works for me. The Clairemont Health and Fitness Center was the sort of a new formalism international, the third of Wheeler's mid-century modern Clairemont landmarks. He was responsible for numerous other modern commercial and residential projects throughout the greater Clairemont area. Originally known as the Clairemont Health Center, it later became the Roman Spa and then part of the National Jack Lane Health Spa chain. Another hybrid new formalism, Post and Beam, right next door, the Clairemont Drive commercial building. After Claire Burgener was elected to local city council in '53, financier Irving J. Kahn took a more proactive role in Clairemont's development. This was part of his development. Between '54 and '57, he took a lead in laying out and managing the nearby Clairemont Quad and North Clairemont Square shopping centers. Partnering with Carlos Tavares, Kahn co-developed additional Clairemont housing tracts, as well as those in University City and Rancho Penasquitos from 1962 to his untimely death in '57, 1973. The International House of Pancakes, IHOP on Balboa. Bert R. Levine, AIA North Hollywood, A-frame, one of my favorite styles. It's the first of Clairemont's 4 3/4 A-frame buildings. I'll explain that later. The only surviving A-frame IHOP in San Diego and Imperial counties. It, along with the nearby Bob's Big Boy, which was demolished, replaced by a Coco's. Now it's a Chick-fil-A. Where it was and arguably still is a place to go, particularly after church on Sundays, first dates, and after prom. The Cotijan Mexican food restaurant, I looked at that and I said, that looks always familiar. It was a Jack-in-a-Box drive-thru restaurant, sort of an industrial googie style, located in Diane Shopping Center in North Clairemont. This former Jack-in-a-Box drive-thru restaurant should be considered as a pop culture artifact of a bygone era when a used 2-year-old Ford V8 GT Mustang cost between $1,500 and $2,200, gasoline between 15 cents and 35 cents a gallon, and 2 cheeseburger combos with fries and shakes You and your date would set you back about $1 and a change. Despite its victimization to parent company food makers, divestment of underperforming locations, and recent conversion into a drive-through Mexican restaurant, it isn't hard to close your eyes and envision it as a mid-century modern example of Foodmaker Inc.'s in-house architect Russell Forrester's Miesian vision of a machine for dispensing food. That being said, the architect on record for the Diane Center's Drax was Donald Gertz, AIA, staff architect for Foodmaker, who designed and later supervised construction on May 16, 1967. All that is missing today is the restaurant's original top half, a steel frame plywood shell that acted like a four-sided Mondrian-inspired neon-lit billboard, while hiding its rooftop mechanical systems and a talking jack-in-a-box along the side drive-through lane. The Clairemont Mortuary and Crematorium, built in 1963, it was designed by Victor L. Wolf, built by Tavares and Nielsen Construction Companies. It's in my eyes, it's contemporary modern with Tiki Polynesian revival. It's Clairemont's first and only mortuary and crematorium. Is another example of the juxtaposition of primitive building materials like cement, mortared stone rubble, and rough surface tongue and groove wood siding into a modern building. Although Wolf described the project as a modern cathedral in miniature, the mortuary chapel's towering truncated A-frame roof resembles that of an Indonesian temple or Melanesian meeting hall. Because it's truncated, I call Clairemont's three-quarter A-frame. Sim Bruce Riches designed the South Clairemont Recreational Center in 1957. Tavares and Nielsen Construction Companies, contemporary modern. It's a subtle blend of functionality with aesthetic appeal, and one of the few utilitarian buildings designed at Richards. The Danish-born Herluf Jensen Breidegard, AIA, designed the Clairemont Branch Public Library in 1958, contemporary modern. Breidegard designed 3 school buildings, as well as Clairemont's first branch library. He also designed the Clairemont and the James Madison High Schools. On his way to attracting national attention for his birthday, designs Breidegard never reached his 50th birthday, I'm sad to say. North Clairemont Branch Public Library, built in 1960, Robert J. Platt, AIA. Futuristic Googie. The library's dominant design features, corrugated plate roof segments appear to float above its interior reading room. Besides designing Clairemont's second branch library, between 1963-65, Platt designed several Tiki Polynesian revival-style buildings at Shelter Island, including the Stanley Yacht Sales, 2540 Shelter Island Drive. The Balboa Branch Public Library, 1971. This is one of our late entry. It originally was called the Mesa Vista Branch. It's sort of international with Tiki Polynesian revival-style influences. Its central pavilion roof has a slight valley vibe to it, reminiscent of the mortuary roof across the street. Its designer, Selden Kennedy, AIA, between 63 and 64, collaborated with Lloyd Rocco and William Rosser on downtown San Diego's Civic Theater. The North Clairemont Fire Station number 27, 1959, contemporary modern. It is very similar to neighborhood gas service stations. Clairemont's mid-century fire stations fit in with the surrounding contemporary modern ranch-style single-family residences. Built at a cost of $51,400, it is currently the home of Fire Engine Company 27, which has protected all of Northwest Clairemont and the surrounding area since 1959. In my neighborhood is Fire Station number 36, built in 69. It's right next to the library, the Balboa Library. It's another contemporary modern-style fire station built at a cost of $101,000. Home of Engine Company 36, serves East Clairemont and its surrounding areas. It is responsible for repairing and maintaining approximately 450 self-contained breathing apparatus and approximately 1,400 air cylinders used by the city of San Diego and Poway firefighters when entering oxygen-deprived environments contaminated by smoke, toxic gas, and other hazardous materials. The John Greenleaf Whittier Grammar School along Clairemont Drive, 1954, another Breidegard design, contemporary modern. Clairemont's first public elementary school was opened in portable bungalows, 1952. More permanent Herluf Jensen Breidegard designed buildings completed in 1954. Its contemporary modern design features angular massing, butterfly roofs, industrial type metal frame windows, and west and south facing brise-soleil sunshades. Another Breidegard design is the George Marston Middle School, also featuring west facing brise-soleil. I had a note on this. It's named after George Marston, who passed away in 1942, and had absolutely nothing to do with Clairemont's historical development. I suggest, how about schools or rec center named after Lou and Claire Burgener? We already have the neighborhood named after Mrs. Burgener. I mean, sorry, Mrs. Tavares, excuse me. I always make that mistake. The Sequoia Elementary School designer, Joseph Ertel, AIA. Another contemporary modern, named after the famous Cherokee, who invented a writing system for his people in the early 1820s. It was one of 9 new public schools erected in San Diego between 1959 and 1960. I have a sweet spot in it because it is the place where my 2 children went to elementary school, and my daughter Stephanie took the photo that we used in the 2012 guide. So that was money well spent on a fine arts degree at UCSD. The Alvin and Maxie Green residence is very interesting. It's attributed to Lloyd Rocco. It was built around January 51 and was relocated in 51 and put in place by the Tavares construction company. It was the house the whole town is talking about. Originally a prize model home on display at San Diego National Home Show in Belleville Park. Let's skip about that and just say that the winner would be chosen to have the home dismantled, relocated, and reassembled at a lot of their choice at nearby Rolando Village, Fairmont Mesa, or Clairemont. At the time, the house was worth $16,000, about $206,000 and change today. May 20th, 1951, Mrs. Rose L. Wooden, a nurse at Mercy Hospital, won the house. Because she had already had a planned home site in Descanso, Mrs. Wooden sold the house for $4,000 to Alvin E. Green. Why did she even enter the contest? In July 51, Green hired the Tavares Company to reassemble the house on concrete foundations it laid at its present site. Besides being a local salesman for the National Register Company, Green was serving as a second term as president of the Clairemont Town Council at the time. His wife, Maxine, worked for Republican Congressman Lou Burgener, a headquarters chair for Bob Wilson's 58 congressional election campaign. For a role as one of the first commissioners of the California Commission on the Status of Women, the Clairemont Women's Club selected her as Woman of the Year, 1959. Now let's talk about the Horizon Homes contest. It was a program in the early 1960s. The concrete industry sponsored an annual Horizon Homes program. They wanted to promote the idea to architects and everyone else that a concrete house is a good investment. Sponsored by Portland Cement Company, they chose to select a spot in the Triumph Tract to have a home built as a sort of a model home. It was used in the Circa Nuclear Home giveaway on display in Balboa Park. 5 years earlier, the Hazard Company, which specialized in concrete masonry units, was promoting the use of the rock-like block, excuse me, in the collection of the $25,000 Circa Nuclear Home. A concrete masonry unit composed of expanded clay aggregates and cement. Its positive attributes: excellent thermal insulation, fire resistant, and better atom bomb protection. Now you ask yourself, what about the window and door openings? Well, get yourself a bomb curtain. It's the latest thing in protection from possible atom bomb attacks. It could consist of an aluminum sheet with lead backing. In theory, the glass would guard homes and structures from flying glass, radioactive dust, and the blinding light of explosions. The growing threat of a nuclear exchange between the US and the USSR sparked a local shelter mania. City planners advocated a dig, don't run policy. Nuclear fallout decay was rapid. Exposure above ground would be safe. And after only 2 or 10 days, homeowners pondered whether to build one or more of the following: a room addition, a covered patio, a backyard swimming pool, or a fallout shelter on their properties. Now, I asked around. Numerous Claremontians responded to my queries about having or knowing the locations of Cold War era fallout shelters. Family of 3 teenagers, boys. As I recall, house may have been near Diane Center. Shelter was so odd to see in backyard. LOL, Cass Street, Mount Davis, 18 feet deep and still there. A wooden plate installed next to grass. Back in the 60s, I was in elementary school. One of my friends' father had a contractor and built one in his backyard on Avenue. I guess you can go in there and play with your atom bomber while the world is destroyed around you. The American Housing Guild was founded in California by New York real estate developers Dale E. Webb and Martin L. Gleick in 1951. It was San Diego's largest locally owned housing developer with approximately 4,000 homes and 10 subdivisions. They bought a chunk of land in what was then Northeast Clairemont that Gleick bought at a city auction from about $1,144,537. That's about the price of a house in my neighborhood now. They chose to build a model home at 5708 Abernathy Way, designed by Robert E. Deloria. Futuristic boogie situated at the western end of the cul-de-sac. Futuristic style house featured several unique, innovative features. Concrete block, exterior walls set on a rectangular 1,131 square foot concrete pad. Multiple 2.5-inch thick boogie style concrete, hyperbolic, parabolic concrete roof sections with structural supports at only 5 points. Described as a butterfly roof sections. I see it more like the Daughters of Charity Cornet. But then again, Deloria had previously incorporated a similar paraboloid roof over Santee's Carlton Hills Lutheran Church, 59, earned him the AA Award of Merit. During his career, Deloria would compete over many other residential, commercial, educational, Navy projects, but he would be known for his innovative and futuristic church designs. The Horizon Home House on Abernathy Way, its significance continued. Non-load-bearing glass walls separate the entry atrium from the central living area, as well as the master bedroom, centrally located kitchen with direct access to the living room. Removable non-bearing wall partitions allow the merging of the 2 rooms flanking the north and central dining room into a single large entertainment area. Next door is the Victory Model Horizon Home, built 1962 by Henry Hester. It is a typical 1,732 square foot, $22,000 4-bedroom home. Its architect was noted La Jolla-based Henry Hester, who did it in 1962. Legendary architectural photographer Julia Schulman once stated that Hester represented a new wave of post-war local architects that helped warm up San Diegans to accept the mid-century modern style as good architecture. He also designed the house for his boss, Marvin L. Gleick, in the college area in 1958. Also got him an AA award. He'll collaborate in designing the Horizon Model Home in University City in 1962. The Victory Model Home sort of made a growing demand for prospective homeowners for housing that shunned traditional period and vital detailing or materials. Let's skip through this for time. Also in this area, the American Housing Guild, Pacific Style Homes, Triumph Tract. We have 5 homes built between 1962 and 1965, having this sort of Pacific Islander Tiki vibe to it. Another set over across the way, down, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them up over between Berwick Drive and Boxford and Betty Hill. Again, you see that sort of Tiki-fied look to them. We'll get into apartment buildings. For the sake of time, I'll go a little quicker. This was designed by IMP. IMP is the fellow who did the glass pyramid at the Louvre. This at the time was the largest federally funded finance rental project in the country. It originally was the Clairemont Gardens, then it became the Buena Vista Gardens. In August 2047, third annual Miss Clairemont contest was held at the Buena Vista swimming pool area. One of its judges was Walter Pidgeon, who recently starred in the Forbidden Planet movie as Dr. Mobius. The Villa Pacific Apartments, 1958-60, Richard George Wheeler. It is, if you look at it, it is basically step terraces leading up Clairemont Drive, going towards the shopping center. Another set of apartments, there's the Spa Apartments, up on Clairemont Mesa Boulevard, 1959 to 69. And I looked at these and I'm going, oh, okay. Originally, it was the Long Ridge Apartments. I described them as they resemble the love child between a motel and a military barracks, but they still feature mid-century modern detailing, low boomerang-like shed roofs, deep overhangs shading rows of second-story balconies, and concrete block brise-soleil sunshades, and concrete block wall cladding resembling scales. The original Pioneer Community Congregational Church, designed by Lloyd Pritchard Antonio Rocco, 1954. His on-site supervisor, Fred Meyer, was also a congregant. Him and his fellow congregants then installed the exterior freestanding wall of the church. The St. Mary Magdalene Social Hall down on Ilion Street, built in 1954, Edgar Ulrich. I'm looking at this. I see Mediterranean eclectic with late modern and contemporary modern influences. The parish held their services in there from 54 until 57, when the main church was completed, again by Edgar Ulrich. And Father Daniel O'Donoghue is on record as the builder. I looked at that and I go, I've seen that before. Like maybe in the Church of the Sacred Heart in Coronado, designed by Irving Gill and his nephew Louis. I also see it in the Americanization School, 1931, another of Gill's design. For his contributions to San Diego's Roman Catholic Diocese, the Requiem Mass was held in Ulrich's honor inside the church he designed only 2 years earlier. The former Clairemont Family Reformed Church is another of Clairemont's two A-frame buildings. And this one in my neighborhood originally was a hobby greenhouse built off the main house sometime after 1967. Everyone keeps saying, what is that? I don't know what that is. I think it's a power station. I think it's a pump house. No, it was a hobby house, according to the plans on file with the city. We get into St. Mark's Methodist Church on Clairemont Drive, 62. Magnificent building. I sometimes don't tell anyone at the church, but I refer to it as a blimp hanger. I know I'll pay for that. It was designed in 1962 by L. Whitmore and Associates AAA in Pacific Palisades. It's on the site of a former airport landing field, a dirt runway. And now it's after the airport's demolition, Pacific Palisades Bay's Whitmore and Associates designed a towering organic geometric style sanctuary for the church in 1962. Inside, you must visit this church. It is magnificent inside. John Wallace of Pasadena installed the abstract modern imported German art glass windows. Sculptor Peter Bolus did the intricate altar and pulpit carving, while David Frisk carved the choir loft and memorial columns in 71 and 1997. The administration and classroom building was added in 1966. It is very similar to the First Methodist Church in Escondido that Whitmore designed in 64 and 66. You can see the similarities. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful designs. And we have the First Baptist Church of Clairemont, 1967. It's another of Clairemont's mid-century modern landmarks, feature a futuristic hyperbolic paraboloid roof, replaced an earlier built 56 sanctuary at Mitchell, also remodeled and converted in 67 to part of the church's present social hall educational building, formed by the combination of concave and convex surfaces that are structurally efficient to cover long spans without intermediate support. The roof can be interpreted as arms reaching up in supplication to God, the aforementioned nun's headdress, a saddle with a nasty pommel, or to the architecturally challenged observer having a broken back. The Northminster Presbyterian Church, 1965, again, our friend Robert Delorier, organic geometric post and beam. And if any of you disagree with my descriptions, please let me know. I'll be happy to review those and change them. A lot of this I really have difficulty because if you look at the plans, the architects really don't tell you what it is. So we have to look at history and architectural reviews to come up with those interpretations. It is like the nearby Bank of America building. The church is a mix of traditional building materials and construction techniques with modernistic abstract forms. Delorier's outstanding designs, a place of worship for all denominations throughout Greater San Diego, would earn him the moniker Mr. Church. Another Mr. Church's design is the nearby Clairemont Lutheran Church, 1965. He designed it. He wrote that he designed it to look like the church's sanctuary's segmented roof and stained glass windows resemble the pages of an open Bible. The church is one of 67 that Mr. Church designed throughout San Diego's county between 1958 and 1986, including the last being Clairemont's Abu Bakr el-Siddiq Mosque on Balboa near the 163 freeway. While it has recently witnessed a senseless act of religious bigotry and hatred, it has also witnessed heroic acts of bravery and self-sacrifice. St. Catherine Labouré Roman Catholic Church on Mount Abraham Avenue, built between 65 and 85. You have its designers, Alfonso Mesa, ADA. You have renowned artist James Hubble designing the original baptismal font, 65. Mock and Grzinski remodeled the sanctuary, 85-86. Joe Gamolka designed and installed the art glass windows, 85. I'm calling it abstract expressionist. Like many of San Diego's mid-century churches, its design is a departure from traditional pre-war churches. Getting towards the end, we have the Clairemont Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints on Mount Abernathy, built between 72 and 73 by John Macosta Jr., AIA Chula Vista. The church's austere, unadorned, contemporary modern styling blends in well with the surrounding post-1970s neighborhood. Like Clairemont's other mid-century modern landmark Christian churches, its overall design and materials focus on authenticity and architectural truth. Wood was wood, stone was stone, brick was brick, God was God. Amen. Now I want to delve into some of my favorite subjects to close this off. Sidewalk stamps. Sidewalk stamps are still artifacts of mid-century modern Clairemont. They're permanent inscriptions embedded in concrete sidewalks that identify the contractor and company responsible for laying the pavement, along with the year the work was completed. Local code requirement to hold contractors accountable for defects, for advertising. What historical value we have? They often lay before or after the first structure on a block. They chronicle patterns of neighborhood development. They have the developers' names. For example, we have the T&R Construction Company of Pacific Beach. It was headed by Tony Gomez Jr. I have him as the concrete contractor of Loma Palisades back in 1958. Del Webb, we talked about him. Arizona-based company, military housing, contracts. Prior to that, creating communities out of nothing. We have more. The preservation efforts are to include cutting stamps out of old sidewalks and embedding them in new concrete during repairs or the installation of the ADA ramps on the sidewalk. Here we have an example of the T&R Construction Company's sidewalk stamp in place. And here we have one that was cut and relocated to make way for this, which is the stamp of 2018. And there is a ordinance buried somewhere in the files. I think it dates back to the late 1890s, city of San Diego, that as mentioned previously, a contractor has to put a stamp and the date in the sidewalk of the concrete pavement they laid, because prior to that, a lot of guys were getting away with laying concrete that was supposed to be, say, 2 inches thick, was actually maybe an inch or a half-inch thick, and they would break up over time. So this is the way of going after these guys. Also, you have what's called scratchiti, or scribbling. Technically vandalism of a public sidewalk. It can be used to identify the year the work was completed, the past owner, owners, residents of the adjacent property. Here we have the cambadas and pennies and Donner. And these are all in my neighborhood. And I went for a walk. We were walking my son's dog while they were away, and I pointed these out to my wife, and she said, oh yeah, I knew the cambadas. I knew the Kennys. So here we are. We have, and it's right in front of their houses. Also, next to my kitchen door in the concrete, when I cleaned all the grud and crud off of it and repainted it, I saw Carol McCracken, June 1st, 1960, scratched into the pavement, and my wife said, oh yeah, I knew the McCracken. So she's an old Clairemont girl from 58, 1 year before this house was built. So here you have 1 year after this house was built, Carol scratches her name and puts a date in the concrete walkway around the house. So thank you, Carol. Now, Clairemont has been widely recognized at a national level as San Diego's preeminent post-World War II suburban community. The profusion of mid-century modern architectural landmarks counter the community's less than superlative sobriquet, Clairemont. This guide is in alignment with the city's general plan, the State Historic Preservation Plan, and SOHO's goals to increase awareness, scholarship, and exchange of information on and the preservation of San Diego's recent past. Many, if not all, would potentially qualify for consideration for historic designation at the local, state, and even national levels. This will help preserve significant historical and cultural resources for current and future generations of Clairemontians. This will enhance their feeling of pride of place in their village within the city. And all of this is based on this previous project that I helped Clairemont put together. Clairemont helped SOHO put together. Thank them very much for dealing with me. So this is in 2012. Of the properties in there, they were then included in the recent 2025 contemporary style buildings of interest in the Clairemont Community Public Plan Historic Statement. I outlined them for you on the right here. Also, they took from our Tiki, Guide to San Diego Tiki Modern Architecture, included a couple of them in here. For example, the San Diego Modernism also included the information from the Tiki guide. And I also did some research and found some additional ones in the San Diego Modernism Historic Context Statement and in Keith York's Modern San Diego. So thank you, Keith. I must give a honorary mention, the Mission Bay Tourist Center down at the end of Clairemont Drive. While technically in Mission Bay Park, it, to me, serves as the entrance to Southern Clairemont. Because if you went inside the tower right here and looked out the windows, you saw the community of Clairemont being developed in front of you. And I'm sure there were some brochures here, and various real estate developers would be more than happy to pick out a house or a lot for you to buy. I also look at our other A-frame, the Wiener Schnitzel on Conway Street in Kearny Mesa. And I was thinking for a future presentation, how about Lost Clairemont and Kearny Mesa, a guide to its demolished mid-century modern landmarks, like the Sunset Bowl, the Falcon Markets, Claremont Theater, Bob's Big Boy, Jack in the Boxes, Oscars, McDonald's, A&W, and the Circle Arts Theater. I list my sources here. Thank you very much. Particularly Dan Seiberg, his photo collection. The folks down at very patiently, the City of San Diego Development Services Department. Every time I walked in there, I get a feeling of them going, "Oh, it's him again." And thank you very much for being patient and hopefully paying attention. Hopefully we all learned something today. I know I did during the research. And please let's play Stump the Chump and send me your Dean. Give me your questions, please.
All right, let me just get back here. Oh, now you've disappeared.
I see there are 6 questions.
Yeah, we do.
That'd be good.
Trying to get the screen back to where it needs to be.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take a beverage break. Man, that was a fast 50 minutes.
Yeah, it sure was. I don't know what having. Oh, it seems to be picking up whichever one of us is talking instead of both. Would you mind not sharing your screen anymore?
Okay.
Exit.
Do I just hit remove from toolbar or?
There we are.
Okay.
Okay, sorry for the delay, folks.
That's all right.
All righty, let's look at the questions now. There's a small shopping center at the corner of Mount Acadia Boulevard and Ackworth Avenue. In it is Maritza's Mexican Food, a liquor store.
Yes.
The question is, do you know when that shopping center was first established or constructed and what it was originally called?
Yes, I kind of do, but you're going to have to email me because I don't have it on the top of my head, but I did run across it in my research.
Right, and if anybody wants to contact Alex, you can reach him through me at the SOHO email address where you got the link to this presentation. Let me see. Was Rich?
And the thing I don't know about it offhand is because there are no mid-century modern landmarks in that shopping center. So I just
was Richard Wheeler William Wheeler's son?
I believe so. I think there might have been yeah, I think you're right.
How did I.M. Pei come to design a building in Clairemont?
He worked for that company. Hang on a second. Good question. He worked for the W. Stewart Webb and Robert C. Knapp Company of New York. he was their lead architect. He had just he'd been a professor of architecture, believe it or not. I think at Harvard. They hired him, and he did many designs of shopping centers and other things. And they got the contract to do the apartment complex in San Diego, and he was part of the deal.
All right. I'm sorry, it keeps jumping as people keep asking.
It's okay.
Are there photos or information about the original Clairemont Lutheran Church sanctuary?
I don't know. You would have to ask them. Be honest, I don't even know where I got. Oh, that's what Dan took that picture, so I do not know.
Somebody's asking where to find his photo collection, and it's dsoderblog.com, dsoderblog.com. All right. Do you know any history of the Fox Run development?
No.
Okay.
But again, shoot me a question. I'll see what I can find out. I have access to the San Diego Union and Tribune archival collection. I have two sources, and I'll look up one which I can't open the articles, and then I'll go to the other one which I can open the articles, and it's kind of a hit and miss. So some days eggs, some days chickens, and that name sounds awfully familiar. I have run across it, so I know it's in there somewhere that can be accessed.
All righty. Any thoughts to carving out a specific geographical area with a cluster of these buildings for a walking or driving tour?
Well,
Already.
hang on. No, I don't have it here. There it is. Go. You can tell them how to access it through the SOHO website.
SOHOSandiego.org and choose publications from the link, and it'll give you a SOHO tour booklets.
Isn't that convenient? Now, I must give a caveat. A lot of that this is 2012 when that was written. It's now 2026. Some of the information in there needs to be updated. I also will be giving this presentation as part of a class. Let me think. July. No. Oh boy, my memory is going. It's in. Well, anyway, it's at the San Diego State University, the extended studies, the OSHA classes. I'm putting together this for them. It'll be offered in the spring semester next year. It will include a in-class presentation like I've just given, followed by a self-guided field trip using this booklet. I'll meet the folks at the St. Margaret's Church, give them the laydown. We'll go inside the church, and then they will then drive through the neighborhood using the map and the booklet. We'll meet at another designated location, and they'll do the second part of the tour. I highly recommend it. Again, you'll actually be, and there is no concentrated cluster of these landmarks, because that's the very nature of post-war suburbia. It's spread out. Next.
Somebody's saying that their mother bought a house for $18,000 on Tonto Way. Any idea why the streets in the neighborhood were some of them were named after indigenous people, real or not.
Was that spelled Tonto?
That's what it says here, yes.
Interesting. I'll have to look that one up. If the rest of the streets are named after indigenous peoples, you got to imagine here are developers developing neighborhoods. They got to come up with street names. After a while, they're naming streets after their their friends, their kids, their dogs, their cats. Um, it's someone at that time thought that, hey, I think it's a good idea to name these after Native American peoples. I don't know. I mean, we're talking what, 70 years ago. Who knows what's in the mind frame of people 70 some odd years ago. But yeah, they stumped me.
Uh, what surprised you while doing your research? Did you have many light bulb moments?
Let me think. Yeah, the 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 responses I got to asking about bomb shelters. That and the first person I talked to, or my source of information, is my wife. Like I said, she moved here from Linda Vista by way of Sunset Cliffs in 1958. I grew up here, and I asked her, "Did you know anybody at bomb shelters in their house?" She goes, "Oh yeah, the so and so whatever had one in the backyard." Oh, did you go in it? Because, well, let's say little Billy. Little Billy invited me down to look, but I didn't go. It was too scary. I know, good on you. But yeah, they're still out here, and I guess the telling thing is to drive around the neighborhood and see if people are starting to freshen them up. Okay, next question.
How did the butterfly roof hold up over time?
It's still there. What can I say? The church is still standing. That house on Mount Abernathy Way is still there. You wouldn't think with a 2.5 inch thick concrete roof would still be standing, but heck, you've got the address. Go visit, see how they're doing. It was part of our tour in 2012. It was even a stop. I think they even let some people in. So yeah, it's still there. It's an amazing engineering structure.
All right, look, we're running out of time here. Thank you again, Alex, for sharing your passion with us. Thanks to all of you for joining us for another edition of Penning the Past. Our next program takes place on Saturday, August 8th, when historian Laura Henson presents Down the Rabbit Hole, The Women of Talmadge, exploring the remarkable women whose lives helped shape one of San Diego's most distinctive historic neighborhoods. We hope you'll join us then. And on behalf of everyone at Save Our Heritage organization, thank you for supporting historic preservation and for spending part of your Saturday morning with us. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next time. And another big thank you to Alex. That was a great presentation. We
Quite
appreciate it.
welcome. We'll have to do this again sometime.
We sure will. Thank you, Alex. Thank you,
Bye
everyone. Have a great weekend.
bye.